Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am going to show you guys today what a standardized test looks like. It's a nationally standardized test that homeschoolers have to take here in North Carolina. There are other states that have to take it. This is not a video to explain to you whether or not you are supposed to give this test or, if it's required or anything like that. I do have a video that I will link above and in the description box that I explained all that, like how to find out if you're required to give this test to your students or not. I'll put a link to that so you can go and watch that and get some information off that. This video is just to show you what one looks like. I, going into homeschooling, knew what we call them SATs. It's not the SAT that you take in high school. I say SAT to some people and they're like, oh, wow, you're doing SATs already? No, we're not doing those SATs. This is a standardized achievement test. This is just a national test that homeschoolers and private schools have to do this. This is why I was familiar with it, because I grew up in private school. I was never specifically homeschooled, but I did have to do these tests in the private schools that I went to because they are required with different things than public school is. So if you never went to private school and you are now homeschooling your kids and you're like, what is this? What is this test that they're going to be taking? This is what this video is for. I'm going to show you what one looks like. I just recently did my girls' test. We are finished for the year, thank goodness. I waited until the end of the year. I wasn't sure if I was going to wait or not, but we waited until the end of the year to let that kind of be our final end of the year, it's over and done with thing that they could kind of look forward to as being our ending date, because we don't really have an ending date ever. We just get done when we get done. But having those tests as our final thing kind of helps them feel relieved that they're finally done. So we just did that with my girls. I have a blank test here that I'm going to show you that I ordered for my nephew. He hasn't done his test yet. He'll be doing his shortly, I guess. But while I've got the blank one here with me, I wanted to show you what it looked like. This is, all of them are different. I explained in the other video that there are different websites and places that you can order these tests from, and they all are a little bit different, but basically the same thing. You have instructions that you as the parent will get, and that's what this looks like. And this one is ordered from Acedemic Excellence. This test that I'm going to show you is, like it says, this is actually called a CAT. It's the California Achievement Test. There are many different ones, but that's what this one specifically was. So this is, again, from Acedemic Excellence. I'll put a link to the website where I ordered these from. They ended up being like, they were on sale. It was like $25 a piece for these because I ordered them together and had a discount and all that. I don't have a discount for you, I don't think. If I find one, I'll put it in there, but it's somewhere like $25 to $30 a piece. All right, so this is for grades 7, 8, and 9, and this is the parents' instructions. The way this test goes is you got the instructions here. You have a booklet that you read the questions out of, that the student reads the question. They have to do this all on their own. You're not supposed to help them other than explaining instructions. You're not supposed to help them with the problems at all. So they have a booklet that they read out of for all of their questions. It's all multiple choice. Kind of looks like this, and there's different sections. I'll show you a little bit closer in a second. And then you have the answer sheet. I'm not going to open this up fully because it has some personal information on it. But this is what the answer sheet looks like. It's little bubble in answers. So like this one, mathematic concepts. You have the A and B. You have little samples that they have to do that it explains them with every section. You have samples, and then you have the rest of the section with multiple choice. Fill in the little bubble. That's what that looks like. But that's for all the sections, look like that. You have samples, and then all of them have a different amount. The language, some of the language ones do look a little bit different because you're doing like punctuations and things. That's on this side. You have, this is, on this section I remember specifically with language, you had to choose which punctuation was missing and then what word it was missing from. So that's why that one looks like that. And then this sheet, you can tear it apart. It's perforated, and I did not know this. It was really great. I scanned my answer sheets in for my girls and got the results back within like 4 or 5 days. It was within a week I had the results back, so that was pretty cool instead of having to mail it in and wait on it to come back. So that's their answer sheet that they put their answers down. You can let them have scratch paper on the side, like especially for math, and it tells you in the instructions for them to have extra paper to work their math problems on. They're not supposed to have a calculator. All right, so let me just go through this a little bit and kind of explain it. These are timed tests, and that's what gets my youngest one, is the timing, because she has a hard time finishing on time. But, this is not for a grade. It doesn't pass or fail your kid, so that's not that big of a deal. It's just something that I've had to work on. She did a little bit better this year than she did last year, but if your kid has a problem with time test, I would suggest maybe doing some practice leading up to the point of doing the test, just so that they're not stressed out. Not so much that, they get a good grade, but just so that they're not stressed out when they do it. You don't want your kid in tears trying to do a test that means nothing for their grade. It's just something that the state requires. You don't want them stressed out for that. All right, so let me just kind of like show you let me show you the last section, because I don't want to show you that first page. It's got some personal information on it. So I'm going to go back to the last section on this one. The last section on this test is language spelling, and it gives you a time limit. This is the parent's instructions, just in case I didn't make that clear. This is what you, as the parent or the person giving the test, this is what you're reading and then giving them some information and telling them to stop and start, all that. All right, so language spelling, time allowed, it says 9 minutes. Number of questions is 32. Description, this last section contains 32 multiple choice items. Your student is asked to determine which word, if any, out of the group of 5 words is misspelled. Common spelling errors such as IE, EI reversal, silent letters, omissions, and vowel substitutions are tested. And then administering the test. Action. Allow your student to work the sample questions. That was the A and B that I showed you. Once they have completed the sample questions and are ready to proceed, start the time to test. And this was 9 minutes. It says after 8 minutes, let your student know that they have 1 minute remaining. And then it says end the test at 9 minutes. So let me show you what their book looks like. For that section, that was, what was that? Well, that was language spelling. So this is all laid out. I'll kind of show you this from the beginning. It doesn't have anything personal on it. So section 1, and I'll get to that part that I was just showing you. Section 1, it's all, it's laid out with the headings just like on their answer sheet. So they know exactly what page they're supposed to be on and where to go. And it has like a weight right there because this was the sample section, and then they're supposed to go to the next page. And as they're testing, it says go on to the next page. They know to keep going until they find the word stop, and that's the end of that section. So let me go to that section that we were just talking about. That is the language spelling. It's going to be all the way in the back here. All right, language spelling. That was section 9 of the test. This is for, I don't know if, I think they're supposed to, they're supposed to read this themselves, or you can read it to them, it doesn't matter. So this explains how many questions they are and what they're going to be doing, and then it walks them through the sample. Gives them what the correct answer was and how they were supposed to fill in the bubble and all that. And then this is what that section actually looks like. So it says, do items 1 through 32 below and mark your answers on the answer sheet. And this is what their answer sheet looks like for language spelling. This was the language spelling section. That was their samples, and this is 1 through 32, and it's all numbered because they are supposed to on here pick the number of the one that is misspelled. So number 1, they had 4 different words, and then they have none of these. So they are either going to choose one of these as the misspelled word, or if they think they're all spelled correctly, then they would bubble in number 5 on their answer sheet. And that's how every section is. They bubble in, color in the bubble on their answers. And this page is number 1 through 15, and then 1 through 32. So it very, very clearly explains what they're testing on, how much time they have. I have little timers that I got off of Amazon. I'll put a link to those in the description box. I use these little timers for my girls, and I don't want to make them nervous, but I want them to see how much time they have left. That's why I say if your kid has a problem with time test, I would maybe do some practice. So that is basically it. You have the instructions for you as the parent or the test giver. You have the booklet that they read their questions out of, and then you have the answer sheet. And I was going to show you on this one, like this one has true, false. Some of them are a little bit different, but the basic thing of having to bubble in the answer on the bubble sheet is the same. Sometimes they're lettered, numbered, pick A, B, C, D, or true, false like this one, or numbered like that. But all basically the same. I hope that helped. I can show you, I did show you that one about where, you pick the punctuation and then what word it goes on. But that's basically it. It's 4 pages. It's front and back. Got that personal information on the front, so I'm not going to show you the front of it. And this is the California Achievement Test, like I said before. This is for the 7th, 8th, and 9th grade level. So your rising 7th, 8th, or 9th grader would take this test. They're grouped together like that. So your kid is not going to know, more than likely, they're not going to know every question in this test. If you have a rising 7th grader taking this test, they're also taking the same test that a rising 8th and 9th grader would take. So they're not supposed to know what a rising 8th and 9th grader knows. So it is okay, and I stress that with my girls, that it's okay if you don't know the answer. You're not supposed to know all the answers. And they do throw questions in there that are higher than that, even the 9th grade level, just to get an idea of where your kid stands. And when you get the tests back, or when you get the scores back, you may have scores that are, if you got a rising 7th grader, you may see that they scored 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or even 13th. They have a 13th level. My rising 9th grader scored in the 13th on a lot of her stuff. And that just says that they can grasp the concepts. It's not a placement test. It's not saying your kid is ready for college if they scored the 13th level on these tests. It's just saying that they can grasp the concepts according to the average kids that are in those grade levels. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, I said I wasn't going to explain all that in this video. That was just a flip through so you can see what the book looks like. So I hope that helped. If you have any questions about the standardized test, so let me know. And again, I will put a link to that other video that I did that explains a little bit more about what, why, when to do these tests. And I hope y'all have a great day. That's all I got for you. Bye.